There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Perfect. There we go. Joined in on my computer.
I see, I see.
Stream already started, or?
Yeah, stream already started. It's on the starting soon screen currently. I normally wait till around like 5 minutes to... They can hear us right now, but... You know, it's just... waiting for some people to come in. Alrighty, it's been 5 minutes, so hello, my blazes! We are back with another stream. We are not doing Stellaris today because of some reasons on Rain's side, and that is okay. So instead, we are doing some Dungeons & Dragons homebrew co-working with none other than Sass, who has been on this journey with me for homebrew for a good while.
Yep.
So with that in mind, I'm going to switch us to... Gonna switch us to my world building screen and get that... where is it? Properties. There we go. Whee! So I have to zoom in so people can actually see what we're working on. And I'm actually gonna go here and zoom in on that as well. Boop. There we go. I have both the class itself and the revisions open. So...
And did I end up... I don't know if I should... Just to make sure. There we go. Because I'm not sure if the Seer revisions that I think that were made, if this was the same one that you had.
Looks like it. I see it. I see you. I can't click on anything because I don't have edit access, but, you know, I still have access to it. It looks like the same one. Yeah. It is the same one, so we're good there. Alrighty, so... I'm not gonna change any of the hit dice or anything like that because I feel like it's appropriate for Seer to be a d6, because... Unless you feel like differently.
Well... Based on what I'm looking at here, the Seer is very similar to it's very similar to almost like a warlock.
So you think I should bump up the die to, say, a D8?
I think D8 would probably be a good option there, considering that there are also kind of it's even stated above. It's like uh, those making grant you more powerful senses to see their enemies and allies. Seers are the most influential religious followers of the world. Their word is second to that of the gods themselves. I think bringing it up to D8 would be a good idea that way.
So up to a D8, which is a bit better for health-wise. You're not so squishy as, say, a sorcerer.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
However, they do operate similar to sorcerers in the fact that they have no armor proficiencies. Because technically...
And that is, yeah. And, like, the proficiencies for, like, the armor and weapons, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Because I think that's... when we get down to the actual, foci, we can then maybe start adding in, specific weapons. For that. So, like, it would be something like they might gain, like, say they start worshipping say they gain the Seer abilities for a god of war, then they might gain armor and weapon proficiencies through that connection. But if you're going with a person with a god of let's say the god of forests, you might not get weapons or armor, and all of your stuff would be much more like Judaic spells.
Yeah, because with the Seer foci, depending on which foci you choose, that determines the additional proficiencies. Like, for example, Messenger and Doomsayer are two of the classes that get light armor proficiency, because you guys are more often than not in the middle of a fight.
Yeah.
The others, not much so.
Yeah.
Though the
like
one...
you Weaver in full plate.
Yeah, pretty much. It's...
Yeah. But even with, like, Doomsayer itself, I would say let's bump up the Doomsayers. Well, when we get down to foci, we can focus on the foci.
Yeah,
focus on the class first.
Yeah, we'll focus on the class first.
Yeah. We can't build up the subclasses if we don't have the class done.
Yeah, exactly. So for that, we're gonna focus on that, and then we're gonna go from there.
So, tools, tarot cards works fine. Saving throws also work really, really well.
Yeah.
Skills, perfectly fine. There.
And then with equipment, I don't think I need to change equipment that much because it's just the run-of-the-mill of,
It's the run-of-the-mill, like your basic stuff.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
Spellcasting I don't need to change too much because I did go through and make, like, a Seer spell list. They're just
I've got it. Yep, I've got it right in front of me right now. And the spells work perfectly fine.
Yeah. Because the majority of it is holy based, but for the most part it, deals with more holy based spells, but there are some arcane and druidic spells in there as well. That makes sense.
Agreed.
Because I know that it's there, in the Seer revisions, obviously the Seer foci determines the spell list isn't going to
Yeah,
work. So
yeah, that we can nix.
yeah.
Um, there we go. That we can nix.
Yeah. Spellcasting is good, pretty much. The only thing that really changes is that you can use your tarot cards as a spell casting focus
Mhm.
instead of a holy symbol.
Now, now, I think that's going back to the Seer revision. Putting Holy Arms at level 1 will be good.
I actually agree with that because it's technically a third level deity, but that doesn't make sense considering that you choose your foci at level 1.
Yeah.
Meaning you choose your god at level 1.
Or the god chooses you.
Yeah. One of the two. Alright, so I'm gonna rearrange some stuff here. Cut. And then move that up. Where should I put it in terms of, I guess under focus? After focus?
No, I'd put it underneath trust your senses.
Okay. Alrighty. There we go.
Yeah, like that. I don't know why it's green, but...
Oh, wait, no, come back. It's been a while since I've actually edited anything with anyone else. So there we go.
There we go. Yeah, because that also makes sense considering that clerics also get their holy arms or their deity's favorite weapon as at the very beginning as a weapon they can use.
I believe I don't know if that's the case in 5e, but that it would work for Seer.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this one was the interesting one. Going back to Seer revisions.
The fortune points system.
Yeah, so you gain fortune points equal to your casting modifier plus half your Seer level rounded down. They regain after a long rest. And then at 10th, fortune points equal to your casting you gain for points equal to your casting modifier after a short rest. So at level 10, you've got, let's say you've got 5 charisma and 5 and 10 Seer levels at that point. You would gain, you would have 10 fortune points to use, but every short rest you would regain 5 of them.
Yeah. It's interesting, though at the same time I don't really know what it would be used for.
Let's see, you gain fortune points that can be used to activate the powers detailed out in the subclass of your choosing. Basically, the fortune points are what allows Seers to do like their specific focus spells. So like you'd spend 1 focus point to use, if you're an advisor, use Charm Person or Command or
Because Seers do have spell slots, is the thing, so...
if that makes sense.
I heard none of that.
Okay. Basically, the focus spells are specific to the particular subclass.
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. So, like, if I remember correctly, let's go back up to here. Yeah, so, like, if you look at the Seer spell list and the Seer class, you can kind of see, like, Advisor. First level spells are Charm Person and Command. First level spells for Seers has neither Charm Person or Command.
Yeah.
So basically, having the point system being able to use those spells like that. Then you've also got things like level-headed at 6th level for Advisor.
Mm-hmm.
At the start of your turn, you can start to meditate to clear your head and gain focus. You can take 2 of your turns to meditate and at the end of your second turn of meditating, you have a very clear focus and gain advantage in all checks, saving throws, and attacks for a number of rounds equal to your class level. Once used, you can't use it again until the next dawn. Having level-headed, instead of it being like you take 2 turns to meditate, you spend like 3 to 5 points, and that will give you the advantage on checks, saving throws, and attacks for a number of rounds equal to the points you put into it.
Oh, I see. Though I did mention something in the Seer focus, the focus spells area.
Mm-hmm.
Each focus has a list of spells, its focus spells, that you gain at the Seer levels noted in the domain description. Well, not the domain, the focus description.
Mm-hmm.
Once you gain a focus spell, you always have it prepared, and it doesn't count against the number of spells you can prepare each day. If you have a focus spell that doesn't appear on the Seer spell list, the spell is nonetheless a Seer spell for you.
Yeah, but again, that wouldn't preclude it from being, say, from the Seer spells being used with those focus points cells. Think like this: if you run out of spell slots and you need to use one of your Seer, like one of your focus spells, you then have the fortune point system to be able to still cast those particular spells.
Oh, okay. That works.
Yeah. Basically, the fortune point system itself is a way to, instead of saying you can use this a number of times per day, you basically just have to say, look, you've got this many focus points, you can spend them to do these different things.
Okay.
It's like the fortune point system is basically how you use your Seer abilities. Is you use fortune points to use those abilities, to use those higher end abilities. There, you can also then use them with the lower levels so that they're relevant throughout the entirety of the campaign. You can use those focus points to spend on spells that you don't want to use a spell slot for.
Hmm.
And
Gotcha.
again, since most of the focus spells end, all focus spells are up to 5th level. You're basically spending the focus points on the particular spells. You're basically spending, like, say you want to use Dominate Person. It's a 5th level spell. You spend 5 focus points and you can do it.
Hmm.
Because in a classic, quote-unquote, normal game of 5e, you're only going to be going up to 20th level. and even if you max out your charisma, you're pretty much going to be capped out at a modifier of 5.
Yeah.
For the most part. There are, of course, ways around it, but you're capped out at a maximum of 5. A seer basically then has a maximum of 15 fortune points to spend.
Mm.
They gain back 5 fortune points every short rest, which is perfectly fine. Basically, you get out of combat, you rest for a few minutes, you regain those 5 back.
Mm.
So, there's that. So in doing so, it basically gives them a resource to use for themselves, but also then it's like, okay, I need to make sure to save some fortune points so that I can use level-headed the next time we get into combat.
Mm.
Or like, something with like, Doomsayers, I can feel your fear. You then spend, it's like you spend the focus points to actually be able to do that, it's like to actually use that ability.
Mm.
Or like Divine Stance, the Fires of Doom, or Doomsday. You're spending those points in order to be able to do these particular abilities.
Yeah. Okay, now it's clicking. At first I was confused because I'm like, why would I... And then now it's clicking, so...
So that's the way that me and Ronan kind of thought about the fortune point system when we discussed it 3 years ago.
3 years ago, yeah. It's really been that long, goddamn. No wonder I'm like, I need to get this done.
Alright. But that's everything for the fortune point system. I will go through the fate thing later. Once we get to level 5, basically.
Alright.
We're still only at level 1.
I'm just gonna copy and paste and put this,
Put it right underneath Holy Arms.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna have system in there, I'm just gonna have fortune points.
That works.
Fortune points. It could be used to activate the powers detailed out in this. Yes, of your choosing. You gain points equal to your spellcasting modifier, Charisma. Plus.
Charisma, or is it, well, yeah, Charisma, because it would be a Charisma spellcaster.
Yeah, it's a Charisma-based spellcaster. And besides, I don't want to do like a Star Wars 5e thing where like when you use these types of spells, it's Wisdom. When you use these types of spells, it's Charisma. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That's too complicated. Yeah. That's more complicated than it needs to be.
Right. And then, of course, you regain, at the beginning, you regain all of your points after a long rest.
Yeah.
And then at 10th level, you regain the extra. No, I did not. Okay, it's just a thing on my computer. You regain focus point equals your casting modifier on a short rest.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I'm wondering is if that's going to be a little bit too much, because, again, it's like at level 10, you've got, let's say you've got 5 Charisma, 10 levels of Seer, you basically get 10 points to spend, and you regain 5 after a short rest. So, like, let's say that you spend 7 points to do something at level 10, you're regaining back 5 of those points after a short rest.
You feel like it might be too much?
Well, that's what I'm wondering, is if it might be a little bit too much.
Yeah, because a lot of the stuff for Seers is long rest based.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, Holy Surge is for short or a long rest.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I say we keep it in for now, and then when we play test it and we decide it's too much, then we can take it out. That's why there's play
Mm-hmm.
testing.
Right.
So,
That is completely fair.
we'll decide during playtesting. So whenever we go and do another, when we do Elo War 3, we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Which that'll be a while, but at the same time, shrug.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Peering into the future.
Right.
I know there's something similar in Seer revisions.
Yeah. So as the warning message open being there based on where you gain the benefits. It says how each self-its effect happen. So D100 1 through 20 affected by guidance, 21 through 40 bless, 41 through 60 give advantage on initiative, 61 through 80 advantage on wisdom saving throws, 81 to 100 advantage on charisma saving throws.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is very similar to Invoke Fate for the revisions.
Yeah.
Invoke Fate is much more combat focused, though.
Okay. So keeping peering into the future? Or do I?
Well, here's the thing. With peering into the future, there is, there's some good stuff for the very beginning of the day. Perfectly fine. I
believe you cut out for me.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Basically, once you use the particular effect, it goes away. So, say you're blessed with guidance for the day, but you then go out and, it's getting close to, the middle of the day, and you roll, and you're like, man, I'm just not there. Use guidance, get that extra dice roll, succeed the save, succeed the check. Then you can no longer use guidance because you've used it already.
Oh, so it's kind of like a one and done kind of thing.
Yeah, so you have so basically the percentile for peering to the future at the beginning of the day. You gain the effects of guidance for one act. It's for one skill for that. Bless. Even trying to remember what bless gives. There we go.
Oh, you had your switch?
No, my internet decided to cut out for a second.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've got no idea why.
Hmm.
Oh well. We'll figure it out. Something will figure it out. Anyway. So, here's the plan I've got. So, back with Bless. Yeah. So Bless basically is the same thing as Guidance, just with attack rolls or saving throws. We add the D4.
Mm. But I am seeing what you're saying, because if you're under that effect for the whole day, that's going to be pain in the ass for the DM instead of a.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's the same thing for like having advantage on initiative for the day. You gain advantage on initiative once throughout the day. Now, granted, advantage on initiative is going to be good, but it's also not great because you might not actually get into combat that day.
Yeah.
Which is, again, perfectly fine. Same thing with advantage on wisdom saving throws or charisma saving throws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then. Trying to think of how to word the guidance and bless when you are under the effect of the guidance spell for one roll for the day.
Yeah. Or on one roll. Actually, on one roll would be better grammatically.
Alright, on one roll.
Yeah. So that works really, really well for peering into the future. For all of that, that works perfectly fine. And then later on at level 5 or level 5 or level 7, we can throw in the invoke fate stuff.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, so that's level 2. We've figured that out. We figured out that that's going to be a headache for the DM, so we're not going to do that. So that means we're going to move on. We're skipping over ability score improvement because that's every class gets it. It's nothing special.
Yep, it's the usual.
It's the usual. So that takes us to level 5 with Holy Surge.
So, Holy Surge can, I would say this is also a good point to use fortune points for.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, you gain this feature at 5th level, seers often don't have their weapons on them in certain situations, so those gods grant them a means to protect themselves. So, as an action, they can basically blast people out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that you can the area of effect is centered on you with a radius of 30 feet, perfectly fine. Everyone except you must make a dexterity saving throw equal to your spell save DC. But I would say at the very beginning, as an action, seers can spend up to their casting modifier in fortune points to make their holy power surge.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. The area of effect centered on you with a radius of 30 feet. Everyone except for you must make a dexterity saving throw equal to your spell save DC. plus the number of fortune points you spend. Then on a failed save, they take radiant damage equal to 1d8 equal to 1d8 per caster, not per caster, but per fortune point spent. Plus casting modifier and half solution success. The damage die increases. So it increases when you reach level 9 to D10, 13th level D12, then 17th level. Then 17th level would be 2d10. So it's at 9th level you get a d10, 13th level you get 2d6. Or no, yeah. 2d6 so it would be d10 for at 9th level. 13th level would be d12. Then 17th level is 2d10.
D in there. That's fine. There we go.
And you can only use this once per long rest. I would say get rid of the short rest.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah.
Her. Yep.
And then at 11th levels, you can use their action to turn their Holy Surge damage into healing. And effect, healing allies then radius of 30 feet. From you, if there's an enemy within the radius, they must make a dex saving throw on a fail. They take 1d4 radiant damage. On success, the enemy takes no damage. I'd say that works well because then you can basically have that extra, like, say you spend 5 points, you're level 17, you suddenly it's like you're dealing out 10d10 healing in a burst radius around you. I think that works very, very well. I would take out the I would also take out the 1d4 radiant damage. I would say they must make a dex saving throw or be pushed back.
Oh. How many feet, though, is the question?
Pushed back, I would say, push them back, let's say push them back 10 feet.
Yeah, I was thinking 10 feet.
And
then
so flat 10 feet. And then if they succeed, they don't get pushed back.
Alrighty.
Yep. I think that works very, very well because then you could be like, oh crap, we need to heal. It's like, oh crap, everyone's nearly dead. Blast out healing.
Yeah.
Okay. We're ready to keep going.
It's a good oh shit button.
Very much so. Very, very much so.
The Seers basically are an oh shit. Holy Surge is an oh shit button of it's just like oh shit. The enemy is almost dead, but no one's really doing anything. Boom. Or oh shit, everyone's almost dead. Boom.
Agreed.
Holy Surge is basically an oh shit button.
Very much so. But now we can move over to, since this is still level 5, we can also talk about the Invoke Fate.
Mm-hmm. I like Invoke Fate because it's still very much kind of the deal of peering into the future, except it's more combat based.
Mm-hmm. Basically, you're able to kind of use your ability to see the future to influence the world, but not always.
In the way that
So
you
basically,
expect.
you're looking into the future. You're seeing the possibility, but sometimes when you see the possibility and try and stop it,
It goes
it
the other
ends up
way.
creating different. Yeah, it creates a different problem.
Yeah. That works really well. Alright, so copy and paste into...
Mm-hmm.
Boop.
So, with Invoke Fate, this is something that they can, as an action, they then roll. Yeah. So as an action, they can roll a d6, and the resulting action takes place. I would say this itself costs a fortune point to do.
Yeah.
As an action, they can spend a fortune point and roll a d6, and the resulting action takes place.
I'm just really quickly, hold on. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna... Boop.
That works. Yeah. So, spend a fortune point, roll a d6, resulting actions take place. 1 or 2, they impose disadvantage on one check for the target. 3 and 4 impose advantage on one check for one target. And 5 and 6 hit one target for half Seer level plus 1d6. It's like for half Seer level d6 plus casting modifier. So at level 5, they're basically doing an extra 2d6 plus their charisma modifier.
Mm-hmm.
It's like not a lot of damage, but
yeah, not a whole
little
bunch
bit.
of damage. A little bit of damage, though. At the same time, how do we determine the target? Is my question.
They must. So basically, after they roll the d6, they can then choose the target. So like, they roll a d6, and let's say they get 3 or 4. They can look over to one of their friends and be like, "You get advantage on your next check." Or like, say they roll a 1. Let's say they roll 1, and they're basically looking around, and they see like their friends are trying to scale a wall, but you look up and you see like archers getting ready to fire at them. You can either choose to hit the archer for disadvantage, or if your teammate was pissing you off this morning, you can give them disadvantage, have them fall, and thus save. It's like, and thus you can catch them and say, "I saved your life." Point out to the archer.
Hmm. Yeah. And then at level 12, they upgrade the dice to d12 and add to their abilities. 7 to 8,
so
hit
then,
one target for half Seer level, d10 plus casting modifier. 9 through 10, impose advantage to one target for 1/2 level turns. 11 through 12, impose disadvantage to one target for 1/2 level turns.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Cool.
Although I say at level 11, they can spend another point to upgrade. I would say they spend another fortune point to upgrade the dice to a d12.
Okay.
So that way the full thing costs 2 points to actually use the full spectrum for it. But it also gives people the ability to be like, okay, I just want to invoke it. I don't need the extra damage or don't want to gamble with those higher level things. I'm just going to spend 1 fortune point, do the basic d6, and then they can spend another fortune point to upgrade it. If they want to upgrade it to a d12, they can spend it at level 11, and then add the hit target for half skill plus d10s, so d10s plus casting modifier. Because at that point, it'd be 5d10.
Yeah.
But they can then just say, okay, I'm going to just use the single fortune point one and still hit them for 5d6.
Yeah.
So, not terrible. It's like not like it's not going to punish them for not doing that, but they don't have to go up to that higher level if they don't really want to.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Best way to kind of describe it for anybody actually listening. High risk, high reward kind of thing. If you don't want to make the high risk, you still get the decent reward, but you might not be able to get through like that higher level stuff.
Yeah.
So that's good. Plus, also it would make really good abilities to be like your friends down there fighting a gladiatorial field. You can be like, okay, I'm going to spend those 2 fortune points, roll, and suddenly, I can impose advantage on a target for like 5 turns. Impose advantage to their attack for 5 turns, or impose advantage on their athletics for 5 turns. Kind of thing. But let's say that they're sneaking, we just need to get out, or we need to get into an area. You could then say, okay, let me try this. Okay, I rolled a 2. Cool. Impose disadvantage on that enemy's perception check. And then sneak past him. So that would be a way you could use it outside of combat.
Yeah. And in that case, do we need to add a bit of wording to the 9 through 10 and 11 through 12 area? Because it just says impose advantage and impose disadvantage. It doesn't say specifically to one check, or is it just advantage and disadvantage in general?
I think it's just advantage. I think advantage and disadvantage in general is going to be good, because these are like the high level abilities where like, advantage to this person. Suddenly they're magically empowered and everything they do is fated to happen.
Yeah, okay, got it. Gotcha. Alright.
And then the previous stuff at level 5 is then you can use disadvantage on one check. They're just fated to fail that check.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. So I think that works for that.
Alrighty. Excuse me. Alrighty, then there's Invoke Fate. We have another one on the board. Alrighty, so Divine Stance. Seers gain this feature at 10th level. While some lead towards the light, others lean into the dark. While some walk the thin line in between, they all have one thing in common, that their strength comes from the deity they serve. So why does something tell me that this is another thing where you can spend fortune points on to make it happen?
Yeah. You put your day's main action on your turn. The effects last for 1 minute. You can use this against you finish long rescue. Okay, I would say that this costs. Let's make this cost. I would say 5 fortune points.
I agree with that.
Because at this point, they would have 5 fortune points regardless of what their what their charisma would be. Let's have it cost 5 for use of just the basic divine stance, and we can kind of work it a little bit with each of the subsequent divine stances for each of the subclasses.
Mm-hmm.
So they could so the subclasses themselves, they could be more, they could be less. It just depends on what the stance actually does. Since this is the baseline one that all seers have access to, having it base 5 would be perfect.
Alright. So you invoke your deity's name and
spend 5 fortune points.
Spend 5 fortune points as an action on your turn.
As an action on your turn. So Texas will last for a minute. Once you use this, you cannot use it again until you finish a long rest. That works perfectly because even after like a short rest, you would regain those 5 fortune points. Yeah, at 10th level, you regain fortune points with your casting modifier for short rest. So, like, even if you had, like, if you have 5 in charisma and you're level 10, you use divine stance, you use half your fortune points to do so. But at the end of the, but at the end, you can take a short rest to regain those 5 back.
Yeah, and it's the whole thing of you cannot use this again until you finish a long rest. It's a hard stop on people spamming it.
Yes. I would even say, like, once you use this, you cannot use any divine stance again until you finish a long rest. That way, it's like, and we'll throw that into all of the divine stances that you get through your subclass there. That way, you're not like, oh, I can use regular divine stance and I can use my class's divine stance. You have to pick one.
Yeah, because when I was reading through this with Chrome, and he's like, when he read, you get another divine stance that's specific to your Seer focus at 10th level. However, you cannot use both at the same time. You must choose one or the other. And Chrome was going to be like, that's broken. But then he saw that, and I'm like, yeah, no, I was one step ahead because having it happen at the same time is exceedingly broken.
Let's see. You have a number of allies equal to your charisma modifier in a 15-foot radius. You have advantages in saving throws and ability checks. So each weapon attack made by those in the 15-foot radius does an additional d6 of radiant damage. If they're good aligned, force if they're neutral, or necrotic if they're equal aligned. On a hit, that does not double on a critical. That's fine. And then at 20th level, the radius of the benefits increases to 30 feet, centering yourself, and the damage die is increased to a d8. That works perfectly fine for me.
Alright, lovely.
Alright. And now we get to the foci.
Yep.
And mostly what we're going to be kind of going through is just kind of saying, okay, what points do we need to start adding in for the fortune points? Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, should I double back to the focus spells up at level 1 and say that you can, or do we just put it in the focus spells in each class of like, hey, you can use fortune points to cast these spells?
I would say let's put it under focus spells. Each focus has a list of spells that you gain, and Seer's levels noted in the focus description. Once you gain a focus spell, you always have it prepared. It's not supposed to prepare. If you have a focus spell that doesn't appear in the spell list, it's a spell on the list for Seer for you. Use fortune points.
To cast these spells.
There we go.
There we go.
You can spend fortune points equal to the spell level to cast these spells.
Yep. Looks good.
So that means, like, again, basically you're spending 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 points to use these particular spells.
Yeah.
Or you can, of course, use your actual, like, spell slots themselves.
Yeah.
If you wanted to use it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all good for the spells. So for advisor, spells are fine. Spells look good. Silver tongued, you gain expertise in one of 3 skills. Perfectly fine. Considering that rogues get advantage, get expertise and skills at level 2 as well. So
yeah. Level-headed is where I believe we start to get into the fortune points for advisor.
yes. So level-headed, I would say. Who returns to meditate at the end of your second turn, meditate.
Because I'm also looking, because gain advantage in all checks, saving throws, and attacks for a number of rounds equal to your class level. I think we should edit the equal to the amount of points you spend.
Yeah, equal to the amount of points you spend up to your it's like up to your modifier.
Yeah. For a number of rounds equal to the spend
Spend, comma up to your spellcasting modifier. Yeah.
So, and then at the start of your turn, you can spend fortune.
Up to your spend fortune points up to
your spell casting modifier.
Then delete to meditate.
Yeah.
There, to clear your head and focus.
And then I'll take out the meditating.
Actually, no. You take 1 turn. So you take 1 turn to meditate. Yeah. So you instead of this, take. You take 1 turn to meditate, and at the end of your at the start of your second turn of that. It's like at the start of your next turn. Sorry.
Yeah.
There we go. And at the start of your next turn, you have very clear focus and gain advantage on all checks with the force points you spend up to your spellcasting modifier.
Once used, you can't use it again until the next dawn.
Yep.
Alright. Eloquence.
Gain advantage in rolling skills you have expertise in.
From Silver Tongued, specifically.
Sometimes. Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Divine Stance.
Divine Stance, heed my words. As an action, you must draw your charisma. Just bring you advantage on your charisma-based checks, skills, and saving throws. You can only spell for contrast. Okay. Let's make this a. Spend 4 fortune points to muster all your charisma and a limit doesn't need for people to listen to you. You have advantage on your charisma-based checks, skills, saving throws. You can use this once for a long rest. I'd say spending 4 fortune points because you're pretty much going to be using it for story. It's like for story purposes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So spending 4 fortune points, yeah, you gain advantage on your charisma-based stuff for that particular, it's like for that moment. But use this once.
Noticeably,
Rest.
there's. And it lasts, yeah. Yeah, 20 minutes. That's fine.
There.
Gives you enough time to...
Didn't do that there. Yeah. Saving throws. You can only use this once per long rest, and it lasts for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Basically, you're spending 4 fortune points for 5 minutes of your of advantage.
Yeah.
So really good for advisors, especially considering they're going to be in settings where there's going to be a lot of people. They're going to have to talk to a lot of people, giving that 20 minutes of advantage on everything. It's a good idea.
For sure. And then I'll look up the spell real quick.
Already on it. Goodness. 8th level, 1 action, on self, duration for 1 hour. Until the spell ends, when you make a charisma check, you can replace the number you roll with a 15. Additionally, no matter what you say, the magic that we determine if you're telling the truth indicates that you are being truthful.
Is that too broken to say that you're always under the effect of that? No.
I would say, yes.
Okay. So because, that needs a lot of edits.
Yeah, because that basically allows you to be like, oh, I'm talking with this person. And you're like, okay, roll intimidation or roll a persuasion kind of thing. And yeah. He's like, oh, I'm just going to take 15 on it.
Yeah. And especially if they always have advantage on the thing from Silver Tongued, or they've done Heed My Words, that, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The only thing with, it's like the only big thing with Voice of the Kingdom is, I would honestly say, like if you're going, like, you could spend, let's say,
fortune points, not focus points.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that works.
There we go.
Alright.
There we go.
That works.
So, with the king, you spend up to 15 fortune points to gain the effects of the spell glibness for a number of hours equal to the points spent. Points spent this way cannot be regained until a long rest. Basically, you can say, okay, I'm going to wake up this morning and I need to talk to everybody. And I need to be I need to be like the best that I can be for the people for today. Spend all of your fortune points just for this effect, and you have 15 hours of goodness,
Yeah.
which means that you're on fire. You're able to talk to everybody. You're able to just it's like make sure that disagreements are taken care of, negotiating, all of that. It's all going to go perfectly the way that you planned it. But something goes wrong and you get into combat, you no longer have fortune points to spend
Yeah.
on your abilities. So so you have to kind of play that balancing game. Okay, how long will this take? Can I spend? It's like can I spend it for an hour and basically just have glibness for an hour?
Hmm.
That kind of thing. So having those
It's a powerful ability, but I think that makes sense considering it is the capstone for advisor.
yeah, and that's why I said like that 15 points. If you can spend all of it it's like to have glibness for the entire day, pretty much.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
until that day
spend
is
up
done,
to.
you have no other fortune points to spend.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Which, of course, means that if you use all fortune points to do Voice of the Kingdom, you can't use your Divine Stance.
Yep.
So you can't use your Divine Stance. You can't use your Level-Headed.
You can't use anything, really. At that point, you're fucked.
Well, it's like, well, I mean, you can still use your spells because you can use your spells off of your spell. It's like you can use your spells, like your
Off of the
focus
spell
spells,
slots.
off the spell slots, as well as spending the fortune points for them if you want to. But at the same time, you got no more focus points.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Alrighty.
I think those are good edits for Advisor.
Yes, I agree.
Now on to Doomsayer. Alright. Oh, wait. Sorry. There was also a couple of other things for Advisor in the revisions.
I think... I don't think...
Yeah, the Divine Stance changes, we've kind of already made rulings on that. So with the Divine Stance changes, we won't worry about it. Level-Headed, we
already worked on.
we've already worked on that, so we're all good on that one. All right.
Doomsayer.
Now, Doomsayer. Focus spells, we've already discussed that, so we don't need to worry about that. One thing that I did like, but we'll get to it once we actually get to the Divine Stance
Okay.
itself. Focus spells, fine. I would say the bonus proficiency, gain proficiency with light and medium armor.
Okay.
They are the ones, like, Doomsayers are the ones that are primarily going to be in combat.
Yeah.
So, there's that. Flavors of Doom, perfectly fine. You gain access to a fighting style.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine, don't need to worry about that. Doom's Calling, at 6th level, you gain an extra attack. That's usually when most classes gain extra attack, anyway. So, perfectly fine. I can feel your fear. you can, and your 8th level, so you'd be having 4 automatically. Let's do 3.
Fortune points. Yeah.
Fortune points to here. Everyone's heartbeat in a 30-foot radius and can pinpoint their location. 16th level, it increases to 60 feet. That works perfectly fine. Now, Divine Stance. Well, I do like the Fires of Doom. We came up with something that I think feels a little interesting. Oh, wait, sorry. One more thing with I can feel your fear.
The soul.
So, yeah, so at 8th level, so the revision that we came up with was at 8th level, your senses have heightened to the point where you can see the intent and disposition of a creature's soul. Well, within your vision range, 150, it's like the 150-foot blind sense and the 150-foot tremor sense, you can see the color and disposition of a creature's soul. DM's discretion on what the soul looks like based on alignment. A DC 25 deception check is required to hide the particulars of the soul, with a contested insight made only by those who have this or similar ability. Basically allows people, it's like allows a doomsayer to actually see the person's soul. So like if you're going up against a person who's done a lot of terrible things, but they've got a good soul, you at least know that they were doing these terrible things for a good reason.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. On the other hand, see somebody doing a lot of good, but their soul's black, then it's like, okay, they're doing this for nefarious reasons.
Yeah.
Or selfish reasons, or for a reason that isn't altruistic.
Do we want to just add on, or do we want to pick and choose between the heartbeat and the soul?
I would say let's add. Let's add on. So you hear. It's like you can feel the heartbeat through the blind. It's like through blind sense and the tremor sense, but you can also see the soul.
Okay.
So what I would do is I would say. Actually, wait. No. Let me. Look at this. Okay. Let's do this. Oops, that is not the right one I wanted to do. I wanted to do this. Here we go. At 12th level, you'll see control. There you go. So at 12th level, your senses heighten to a point where you can see the intent and disposition of a person's soul, while within your vision range. You can see the color. One sec. That's like dinner was just called.
Really?
Alright. So we'll take a quick break, grab dinner, and then I will be back.
Alrighty. Sounds
All
good.
right. I will talk to you all in a few minutes.
Alrighty. Bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Just chilling now. Then in that case, I'm gonna quickly just... Oh boy, this is going well so far. We've made a lot of progress. We're already at the subclasses, and we're just gonna keep going. There we go. Ah. And we are... So we have done Advisor. We're working on Doomsayer. And then after Doomsayer, there's Interpreter. Then Messenger. Then Weaver. So we got 3. Got 3 more to go, possibly. Seer is the class that I feel like is the most unique currently out of my 2 that I'm working on. So it's very interesting. Because, let me see here. Pun intended. No, I didn't mean to click that. Come back. There we go. I don't know why I'm yawning. I slept a lot today. Bum 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 bum. bum, 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 na, na. Bum, ba, na, 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 na. I love homebrewing stuff, it's so fun, but at the same time it makes me want to rip my hair out. Just, you gotta make sure everything's properly balanced, properly good, and everything, because otherwise it's just, nope. Let me go ahead and get ahead of the curve. Yeah, okay, cool. We're not to there yet. We're still working on.
There we go. I'm back.
Welcome back.
All right.
Now to continue with our process.
Mm-hmm.
We're making good progress. We went through the main class, advisor, and we're working on Doomsayer, and then we got like 3 more things.
Mm-hmm.
One of which is kind of bare bones, and that's gonna be coming in, so. But for now, let's focus at the task at hand and get through Doomsayer.
Mm-hmm.
We've done I Can Sense Your Fear.
Yes. Alright, so now to the Divine Stance.
Yep. You said you had an idea for this
So,
one.
yeah. So, Crit 1, the Fires of Doom, you've got fire shooting up, 10d6 fire damage or half if they succeed and all that. Good for area of effect damage, but not really Seer-esque.
Hmm.
So what we came up with was um, basically you can spend um, so you gain your divine stance at 10th level. You can spend up to uh, 8 um, fortune points to basically do one of 3 things. At 10th level, you impose disadvantage on one attack for an enemy for a number of turns equal to your charisma plus half your seer level. So if you're at 10th level, you basically impose disadvantage on the enemy's first attack every turn for 10 turns.
Mm.
Then at 15th level, you impose disadvantage on one attack for all enemies within 15 feet of you for a number of turns equal to your charisma plus half seer level. So you're looking at all enemies. Their first attack of their turn is at disadvantage for 12 turns. Then at 20th, you give disadvantage to all rolls for all enemies within 15 turns, within 15 feet for number of turns equals your charisma plus half seer level. You're basically all of their attacks, and they just keep missing you.
Mm. That would probably work because. My brain just shorted out. I apologize.
You're good. We of course have to rechange the Fires of Doom, but
Mm.
alright. Two. There we go.
Alrighty. I'm just gonna provide the spaces. Boop. There.
Yep, that's fair. Alright.
Though that does mean Doomsday is a bit, moot. Well, at 20th level at any rate. Though that is the, Divine Stance. Not...
Yeah. So, Doomsday. The circuits in the middle of their enemies' connection to some features that are doing this to you also. Also, DC and failure to see also. True, but this is also like the Divine Stance only gives it for a number of turns. So it's yeah. So I would say if you lose in the same time, you lose for the same PC. And a failure, they have advantage on all attacks against those creatures, and those creatures have disadvantage. There. So, Fires of Doom basically gives them a lesser version of Doomsday. Or it's basically allowing them to spend 8 fortune points in order to do it for just the combat turns. Self.
Alrighty.
Because they basically, if you're in the middle of combat, you have to use use the Fires of Doom ability, or whatever we rename it to impose disadvantage on all rolls for the enemies within 15 feet, equals the number of turns, equals your charisma plus half Seer level. So, at 20th level, you're doing it for 15 turns. At 17th level, you can do it for 15 hours.
Yeah.
We will always have advantage against those attacks, against them, and they have disadvantage on everything for 15 hours. And they cannot be affected by the feature for the next 24 hours.
Yeah.
Starting from when the end. So, like, if you do it for, like, you have them do this for 15 hours, You can't, after those 15 hours are over with, say, okay, I'm just going to wait 9 more hours and then I can do it again.
Yeah.
No, you cast it like 8 a.m. and it's like at 8 in the morning. It's not going to be finished until like 11 o'clock at night. And then you basically have to wait until the next 11 o'clock at night, the next day, in order to hit them with this again.
Yeah. That's balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I'm looking at the Divine Stance name for Doomsayers and I'm trying to figure something out for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise it's just gonna nag me.
Mm-hmm. Let's do. I don't know. Oh, snipping the threads.
I feel like that might be a more appropriate thing for Weaver.
Fair. Call it Memento Mori.
Hmm?
Could call it Memento Mori.
Ooh. That could work.
Yeah. Again, the Doomsayer is very much the combat focused, the most combat focused out of all of them.
Yeah.
So having them be a little bit, so having with these abilities where that you're imposing disadvantage on people works better rather than just being like, oh crap, I'm summoning this giant tower of flame.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Whereas now Doomsayers are much more like, I'm seeing the way that fate is moving around in this battlefield. I know when you're going to attack me, and I know how to move myself out of the way of that attack. And then as they get more powerful, they're just quite literally walking through a battlefield, shaking their heads side to side as they're dodging every attack. They're just calmly walking.
Did I spell that right? Memento Mori?
Let's see. Yeah, I think so, yes.
Yay! First try too!
Yep.
Alrighty.
Memento Mori, an object serving as a warning or reminder of death.
Alright. So, that is Doomsayer. Interpreter is next. And I believe this one has the most changes. Alrighty, so interpreter, I don't I think we can skip over the focus spells because I think that's fine. Because they're
Yeah.
much more. So that means. So how do we make sense of this one?
Well, let's start with this pure interpretation. When you take a long rest with a humanoid creature, you can cause their dreams to become clearer to the point of them becoming a vision. The creature becomes under the effect of peering into the future for the day. So, what is peering into the future?
Peering into the future is the one where it's the second level ability where you either are under the effect of guidance for one roll for the day, bless for one roll for the day, initiative roll once for the day, advantage, and then same with charisma saving throws once.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I look at it, I don't think it's unique enough. If that makes sense. Because I like in the Seer revisions,
Oh,
I like that they can change stuff into portent rolls, because I think that does make sense. Especially for an interpreter.
mm-hmm.
Because their whole deal is just like, oh, I have seen the future! Here's what it means!
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, I wonder if, because ultimately portent rolls can kind of, well, if it's only for a character, for any skill attack or save check, but they can only use it for themselves, that might be okay. Because then otherwise it's just like, so... I guess pure interpretation could be like... trying to find a way to combine the Seer revisions with what I already have.
Mm-hmm.
That part is difficult. Because with the Seer revisions, there's a level 1 peer into the future. At the beginning of the day, an interpreter must roll all fortune points as portent rolls and give them to one other character. That character may choose up to the Interpreter's Charisma mod and dice to take as portent for any skill, attack, or save check. But they can only use them for that day. After a long rest, any unused dice are removed, and the Interpreter can not choose that person again for 1d4 plus 1 days.
Mm-hmm. I think switching, like, basically instead of having the pure interpretation, basically giving them peer into the future instead.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I really like the portent for Interpreter. I feel like it makes more sense, if that makes sense.
Because makes more sense for Interpreter rather than anything else?
Kind of, yeah, because quite literally it's just like, I have literally seen the future. These are gonna come in handy. It's just a matter of, I don't want to make it too much like, I think it was
Divination?
Divination Wizard, yeah, where it's just like, and you rolled a natural, I rolled a natural 20. No, the fuck you did not.
I would honestly say let's do this for pure interpretation. When you take a long rest, there you go. When you take a long rest, you can spend up to your casting modifier. Spend up to your casting modifier in. Wait, to gain portent die, d20 per point spent. You must use these rolls for creatures other than yourself. Use all unspent portent at the end of the day. So basically, you can choose at second level. You can choose to gain 5 portent. It's like 5 portent die that you can spend for other people. You can't use them for yourself. You have to use them for others.
Yeah. Does that count enemies, or is it just party members?
It counts to any creature. So, like, let's say your BBEG rolls a nat 20 to finally kill the paladin, and you like, nope, it's a 1. Or nope, it's a 3.
Then you might want to put it in to gain portent die, d20 per point spent, roll it at the start of the day. Roll those portent dice at the start of the day, and that's what you have. Because otherwise it's going to be like...
You must roll them at the start of the day, and must use these rolls for creatures other than yourself.
There we go.
You lose all unspent portents at the end of the day.
Yep. Alrighty.
And it also still keeps the peer interpretation name in there as well, because you're like, because then you're like, oh, I'm the peer. It's like I'm interpreting what fate has designed for everybody, and this is what I'm saying. It's designing it
Yeah.
as.
Just BBEG rolls a natural 20. I did it! No, you didn't. Aww.
Nope. Or the PPG wins. I lost. Wait a minute, I'm not supposed to lose. Script.
Yeah. Hmm.
Mm.
Alrighty, there's that one. Some reflection required. I feel like. Um. Hmm.
I honestly like this. I would just change.
Yeah, there we go. To see scenes from the creatures or items past.
I just passed the using the magic item meter of past. You also hear the scenes as well. And sixth level, it's like at sixth level the scenes are random and cryptic. At 11th level the scenes are a bit more clear but as cryptic, but can still be random and cryptic. And then at 16th level the scenes are clear but still require time to piece everything together.
Not much changing on
That
this
works
one's
for.
part.
Nope, just a couple things. Adding it so you can use an item and making you spend 2 fortune points to do so.
The language of dreams. I like the Seer revision one, where they can choose to take some portent for themselves.
Okay. You can heal spell instance related to your day for the next 24 hours.
Because I feel like
Or 2,
you can take portent for yourself instead of others. Because I do like that about the
how many? Out of this, you may take.
there you go.
There we go. Yeah, so you choose one of the following. So you can, for the next 24 hours, you understand all languages and advantage on insight, performance, and sleight of hand checks, or you can take up to half the fortune die for your own use. So like you roll 5 fortune die and you get like 3 nat 20s, you can take 2 of those for yourself.
Yeah.
But the other nat 20 and the other 3 must be used for other things.
For on other creatures, yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Ooh. Thumbs up.
Then for Divine Stance, walk in your dreams.
Yeah.
And for the next hour, you receive the scenes that you want from the creature. Aside from the creature.
Or item.
Or item from the feature, some reflection required with perfect clarity. You can only do this once per long rest. That works perfectly.
Wonderful. Divine Foresight. I feel like this is one of the places where, again, it's going to be the 15,
Yeah.
to be under the effects of the Foresight spell. And then I'm just going to get rid of that.
Foresight. Yeah, because the Foresight spell itself, it lasts for 8 hours, for one. For two, you touch a willing creature with still a limited ability to see the immediate future. For the duration, the target cannot be surprised and has advantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws. Additionally, other creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls against the target for the duration. So, you basically will have Foresight for 8 hours. There you go. You can spend up to 15 fortune points to gain the effects of the Foresight spell for a number of hours equal to the points spent. So if you spend 8 points, you gain the Foresight spell, basically.
Yeah.
Without having to actually spend a minute casting the Foresight spell. You just instantly have it for 8 hours. Spend up to 15, boom, you've got it up for 15 hours.
However, again, that means you are also out of fortune points and can't do shit.
Agreed. And then I'm just gonna take this. I'm just gonna put this. And there we go.
Yeah. Points spent this way cannot be regained until a long rest. Because that hard blocks. Like, oh shit, yeah, you've done this, but now you can't get your points back at all until your long rest. So...
You're literally expending all of your energy to do this one thing.
Yeah.
And granted, those things are insanely powerful.
It makes sense. Alrighty. But there's an interpreter. Oh man, Carl is gonna have a field day with interpreter.
Yep, but the thing is, the interpreter can only have a maximum of 5 portent dice.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think that's still more than the divination wizard.
No, well, yes, sort of.
I think divination wizard gets 2.
They can get up to 3. And then if you were to be a halfling with halfling luck, you gain an extra 2 there, so you can have a total of 5 there. And then didn't Lucky also give you access to portent dice rolls as well, or is it just...
I don't think it does, no.
Okay. So, you can have up to a maximum of 5.
Okay. Cool. Now, moving on to Messenger.
Yep.
I, again, don't think we need to worry about focus spells. I think that's perfect, because they're literally there to just go fast. That is literally a lot of their stuff. The only reason they have, like, comprehend languages and tongues and all that is because most of the time, they're going to places where they speak different languages.
I am adding something to bonus proficiencies, though.
And all weapons with the throwing. Yeah.
There you go. Gain proficiency with all weapons with the throwing trait, as well as improvised throwing weapons. So that way it's like, because they're messengers, they're running around like, oh crap, there's someone over there. Grabs a random chair leg, grabs the chair, throws it behind him, keeps running.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright.
Or, because I can't really see strings, so I don't know if anyone's actually here, but in the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, there's a moment where the Spider-Man are running out of the lab. One of them throws a bagel behind them and beans a person in the head with a bagel.
Mm-hmm.
It's like even the comic, it's like even like when they're doing it, they sometimes have like comic splashes that pop up, like bang or pow kind of things. If you look really closely, when it hits the guy in the head, it actually just kind of pops up like bagel.
I see it.
It's very, very funny. Very, very funny.
Then, that's bonus proficiencies. That makes sense. Yes, I agree. Light of foot. As a bonus action, you can use it to dash. Basically. Should I also add disengage as well, or?
I would say. No, I would say you can use bonus action to dash. It's perfectly fine.
Alright.
Then at 8th level, your movement speed increases by 15 feet, increases by another 15 feet at 14th level.
Yeah. You are
At 14th level, I would also say...
Speed.
Pop that down. Backspace there. Sorry. Here we go. Okay. There you go. I would say at 14th level, you can spend 14 points to disengage and dash as a bonus action.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, like, at 2nd level, you can use your bonus action to dash.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. At 18th level, your movement speed increases by 15 feet, so you are faster there. And... there we go, and then we're just gonna do... this... There we go. At 8th level, your movement increases by 15 feet, and then at 14th level, you can spend a fortune point to disengage and dash to the bonus action, and your speed increases by another 15 feet.
There we go. Okay, cool.
There we go.
Alright. message on the winds, you know the message cantrip and the sending spell and can cast them a number of times per day equal to your spellcasting modifier.
Let's take out the time. There we go. So the message cantrip and the sending spell, and can cast them for a fortune point.
Alright, that sounds good. That's good.
Fortune point. Yep.
Alrighty.
So the fortune, you send Ben a fortune point to send the sending spell. The message cantrip, the message cantrip. So actually, let me rewrite this. Cut. Paste. Here. And there we go. There. The message cantrip and can cast the sending spell for a fortune point.
Yeah, there we go. Alrighty. Now for the 8th level one, which I never got around to making.
Actually, this is where I come in, because we have something. At 8th level, incoming! Said exactly as so. At 8th level, a messenger is able to move into and out of combat quickly, making them a force of hit and run tactics. They gain 2 attacks per turn, and any thrown weapon is treated as one size category larger for the purposes of damage calculation.
I like that. Just put it at that, yay.
There. Yeah. There we go.
There we go.
Yep. Okay. Now... Now, on an urgent errand. According to the speed double. Fast knowledge double. Suits your advantage. Suits your own speed is also double. Still good. After calling your data's name as an action and spending 5 fortune points, your movement speed is doubled as you are filled with the urgency to move fast. Not only is your movement doubled, but a number of allies equals your charisma modifier in the range of the divine stance feature. Taking the range of the divine stance feature, number of allies equals to your charisma modifier. Allies is taking a number of allies This be doubled. But a number of allies equals your cruise fire. There you go. Yep. So now we move to the familiars in fast. Now is your movement doubled? The number of allies equals your charisma modifier in the range of the divine stance feature. Have their movement speed doubled as well. It's like also doubled. I think that's good for 5 fortune points to basically be like, oh crap, we need to move.
We need to move. Bonk.
And then to the ends of the earth, you travel from fatness. It is considered normal if you're like, the teleport, plane shift, and gate spells. Teleport can be sent around places from other places if you pray your deity for 10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, that definitely needs to cost fortune points for sure.
Oh, big time.
Alright, yeah, that looks good.
Mm-hmm.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to add in the that.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah. Perfect.
There we go.
That way, yeah, so that way you have access to teleport, costs 5 fortune points with an additional 1 fortune point per creature with you. So, if you got a party of 6, teleport, I think, basically allows you and one other, like, you and, like, 2 other creatures, something like that. Let me see.
Teleport 5e. This spell
So you and up to
up to
8
8
willing creatures. This, yeah, so this one here, it costs 5 fortune points to teleport yourself, and then an extra 1 fortune point per extra creature with you.
Yeah, I got it.
So that way, it's like you can basically go crap, bring everybody together. See, there's like 8 of you. Like, fine, spend 15 fortune points. It's like spend 13 fortune points and teleport you all somewhere else that you don't even need to. Say that you don't need to worry about. Then I think player shift functions similarly.
Plane shift, you and up to 8 willing creatures who link hands in a circle are transported to a different plane of existence. Yippee!
This basically allows you to use plane shift for yourself. 7 points to cast it, which works perfectly considering plane shift is a 7th level spell.
Yeah.
It will send you. So just casting it at the base level will send you to another plane, and then you spend 2 points per everybody else. So you can basically take yourself and 4 other people with you to another plane, if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gate, which Gate.
It's a 9th level spell. You conjure
Yeah,
a
so
portal linking an unoccupied space you can see within range to a precise location on a different plane of existence. This portal is circling an opening. Yada yada yada. And it lasts for the duration, which is 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
So, total of 15 to make it permanent, but 10 to do it normally.
Yeah, I tend to open up the portal and get people, and basically send people in for a minute and jump back through. But let's say that you're like, oh, no, we need to really connect these 2 places for trade, for other things like that. Gate permanency.
Yeah.
But they're wiped out for the rest of the day.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. That's Messenger.
That's Messenger done.
Now on to the hard part, which, we're gonna be...
Which we don't have any revisions for.
Because this came into being probably after you guys came up with the revisions. Because I'm like...
Yeah. Agreed.
So...
Okay.
This part is gonna be flexing our, creativity muscles for the day instead of just like, okay, trying to merge the two. Now here's where I can breathe a little bit.
Alright, so removes and create control of the fate and the weave. They can cause the very life to be sapped from an enemy and power an ally or transfer life energy to one. However, they can also manipulate the weave and give an enemy a detrimental effect it's causing.
Yeah, I trailed off there. I don't know what I was doing there.
There we go. So, focus spells, perfectly fine. All there. Bonus, it's like the second level one is bonus resistance.
Yep, yeah, resistance to necrotic damage. And the stars, additionally, the damage you take from life transference can be resisted, and this spell still heals the full amount. Because I feel like that's appropriate. Of just like, oh, boop.
Okay. So we need a 6th, an 8th, a 10th, and a 13th, and a 17th.
Yep.
Level ability.
Yep.
So let's start with 6th level. Let's take a look back at the other 6th level abilities that we got. Alrighty.
Yep. For messengers, it's message on the winds. You know, the message cantrip and can cast the sending spell for a fortune point. For interpreter, it is sun reflection required. Basically, the scenes. For doomsayers, it's an extra attack.
Yeah. And for advisor, it's level-headed.
Yes.
Okay. I've got an idea. Okay. 6th level Seer witnesses the lines of fate radiating between others. By spending a fortune point, they can take hold of the strands and change the there we go. The 6th level Seer witnesses the lines of fate radiating between others. By spending a fortune point, they can take hold of the strands and change the connection to another person within 15 feet of the target. This effect causes 1d6 points of psychic damage to both targets as fate is rewritten to put them into close proximity.
Close proximity as in how?
That's the thing. That's up to the DM to decide. There we go. Basically, I'm trying to think of a good way to. Okay. Got a good way to describe this. So, Vox Machina.
Mm-hmm.
Vex's ability to see the lines of a person's, it's like lines leading to a person's soul, considering he's part of the Raven Queen's dominion.
Yeah.
A weaver can see something similar, except instead of the strands connecting to being like their lifeline to basically like their soul's connection to life, when it's cut, the soul then goes to the Raven Queen. In this way, it's the lines of fate that are connecting people. So, like, if you look at, let's look at it like this. So, let's say that you, me, and 5 other people are all together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you and me, of course, we've got a connection, but maybe we don't have to the other. Let's say to the others. That a weaver at 6th level can basically take the connection that is between us, can take it and move it to other people. So like they would focus, like let's say that they're going to be doing this and they want a connection between myself, or actually between yourself and another person. They then take the connection from, take the connection from me, so they can put it towards another person. Both you and the other person will take a d6 of psychic damage, as fate is now being rewritten to make that connection true. So another way to put it would be like, let's say that the party is up against a group of people. One person is very much has a lot of hatred towards another person in the party, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can, it's like a weaver could take that animosity from the party member and direct it towards another, can direct it towards another person or even an ally. They both take psychic damage, but now that animosity is focused on another person, so they're going to react differently because now they're no longer like they no longer have hatred towards this person. They're still going to attack them because that's their job and that's what they need to do. But the animosity between them, like if it was in like a ballroom setting, that animosity can be redirected towards another person and put them away from the party. Or it could be like we're going up against, like we're going up to be interrogated by a guard, and that guard is very suspicious of specifically one of the party members. Let's say the rogue stole something and the guard is looking at him very suspiciously. You can take that suspicion and plant it in somebody else. Basically changing the fate so that the guard doesn't think that the thief actually stole anything, or doesn't have any suspicion for the thief, so we might treat them better.
I like that. That's actually pretty nice. And it makes sense for a weaver.
Mm-hmm. And spending a single fortune point to do that, it'll be good to do that, but DM discretion can also be like, in order to change something that's core about a person, about their fate, you have to spend more fortune points to do so, and that's what that will lead into the 8th level ability. So then at 8th level, By spending 3 fortune points, we can change stronger types of fate. As an example, a person who's fated for misfortune can have that fate changed to leading a normal life. There we go. However, this effect is harder on the subject, causing them to take 2d10 psychic damage. This also means that you can also change it between a person living a good life. You can change it to them leading a horrible life. Like, let's say it's a business tycoon who makes a ton of money but doesn't actually care about his employees or their staff. You can change the fate to basically change it so that his staff rises up and basically kicks him out.
Also, hello.
He loses everything.
Good evening to you. I hope you're doing well. Congrats on 3rd. We're doing some D&D world stuff because I realized that I needed to work on some stuff. All in all, doing okay? That's good. That's very good.
Agreed.
Yeah. Rain and I ended up not doing Stellaris, so today we're doing D&D based stuff. We're currently working on one of my 2 homebrew classes. This one is called the Seer. And we're now in the area of where we don't have any revisions and we're kind of free to see what works and what doesn't work. Nice. Yes. It's for 5th edition though, so I can't... I'm sure it could be, like, adjusted for other stuff with some effort, but 5th edition is what I'm most comfortable with, so...
Alright. Back there. Alright, so what are you thinking for Divine Stance for Weaver?
That's a good question, because for the other stuff, it's based highly on the name. Seems like you have an idea, Sus. I'm interested to see where it goes.
Seventh. Take that one for later. There we go. At 10th level, a believer can call upon their deity's name and spend 7 fortune points to see and sever the threads of fate around an enemy. The enemy makes a wisdom saving throw against the spell save DC plus the fortune points spent, or takes 5d12 psychic damage and falling prone as their fate is stripped from them. The successful save halves the damage and does not inflict the prone condition.
That is pretty nice.
And if you notice, I'm actually calculating it based off of the psychic damage for the 6th level ability. Because this costs a fortune point for the 6th level ability to do 1d6. 8th level, spending 3 fortune points allows them to do 2d10, basically bumping it up with 2 extra dice.
I see. Yeah, that
and
makes
then
sense.
7 points, you get 5 and d12 at that point.
Yeah, that looks good to me.
And now 17th level. Seventeenth level.
Oh. As if they never existed. Oh, yeah. Yep. Alright. So... Yep, don't forget to put points spent that way. Cannot be regained until lost. So the first one is an area of effect, and the second one is one creature.
The second one is basically you're ripping fate away from them. If you manage to kill them with this, they are retroactively removed from Fate's Weave as if they never existed. Which, as a DM, also poses a very, very, very hard decision of actually allowing people to use a Weaver, especially if you're going to get up to that high, especially if you're running a game at those higher levels.
Yeah.
Because let's say that they do this and they hit the BBEG. If they hit the BBEG, then nothing the party has done has mattered because the BBG never existed. Their abilities, the people that they are, will change in an instant because there was never a BBEG. They were gone. It's like they go out and live they go out and live new lives. All back starting at level 1.
Yikes.
The last thing for Weavers is, yes, it is campaign destroying, but it's also campaign ender, but in the best way possible because now they can go out and live their normal lives. Yeah, they've never met they've met their new friends. They still have all of the memories, but now they're back at level 1. First meeting together. They remember everything that they've done. They know that they're no longer powerful because there was no BBEG. The Weaver knows this. And now they can simply go out and live their lives without having to worry about being lauded as heroes or being put up on pedestals and statues in their names and all the fame and fortune and all of that dullness. They can just go out and live their normal lives now. It's the best gift for a group of adventurers who have fought and just don't want the recognition. Mm-hmm. Being a Weaver is all about making sure you don't get the recognition for doing all these things, because that's not what you're there. You're not there for the recognition. You're there because fate needs you to fix these things. It's not a glamorous job, but it's a job that needs doing. And if you do a job that needs doing well enough, if you do a job well enough that no one notices that needed to be done, you did a great job.
Mm.
But it also brings in a lot of funny moments. Because let's say you use this on a random NPC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or better yet, let's say you use this on a king, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go to the city, and now the city is being ruled by somebody else. It might not even be a kingdom anymore. It might be a republic. It's very particular about things. With a Weaver, you have to be very careful about how you use that last ability. Mm-hmm. Because you can, quite literally, rip somebody out of existence.
Yeah.
They never existed in the first place. Everything, and that's the reason I put down they are retroactively removed from Fate's Weave. They never existed in the first place. So let's say you do this to a guy who is just completely destroyed a continent. Like you're facing up against him, he's destroyed a continent. You finally get up there, the Weaver blasts him with his magic. Suddenly, it's like suddenly that guy, poof, gone, completely destroyed. You go back to that country, so you go back to that continent. The continent's there, it's thriving. People are living there. You've just saved thousands of lives by killing this one person.
Hmm.
Because out of all of the Seers, the Weaver is the one that all the other Seers don't mess with. They do not mess with Weavers. Weavers are...
A Weaver shows up, you become very respectful.
Yes. But it's like for the Seers, they do that because as Seers, they can see everything. They see the ways that fate is moving. A Weaver can come in, completely destroy something. All of their Seers will remember what that being did. Everyone else in the world, it never existed, never happened.
Yeah.
The Seers are the only. It's like the Seers are the ones that remember it, and the Seers can then give that memory to the party as they're going through.
Yeah.
Because like as a Weaver, it's like when a Weaver comes to you and like basically blesses you, quote unquote, you can't, or actually in the Weaver's case themselves, they can go in and change the fates around. They can basically show it that this is the fate that we had. We were fated to go up against this evil, and we did. We destroyed this evil together. Here are the memories back. Do you remember what we did? Even though now he never existed, we no longer needed to be brought together because there was never any evil anymore. There was never a big bad evil guy. He's gone. But here's the memories of what we did together. And allows the party to be like, you know what? Yeah, we did this. This is something we did. I have the memories of going and facing this evil. And now we're all together. We can go out, we can grab our stuff again, we can go out and do more heroic things. And the Weaver can be like, good, you guys go do that. I'm going to leave, and I'm going to go continue to do what I need to do. My purpose here was to bring the party together to go face this evil. And in doing so, I got stronger enough to make sure that this evil never existed in the first place. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm putting the party back together, so that way the world still has a group of people who can go out and kill things that are beyond most mortal people.
Yeah.
Basically, that last ability for Weavers, it's the end of the campaign. They're doing it to make sure that this thing stays dead. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, making sure that the party, their friends, can live better lives.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be fun to do. Just all of a sudden, just Weaver gets the final hit. But that ability, that would be fun to do. My DM brain is just like, ooh, fun.
Now, let's do this.
Wait, I have some notes.
Lastly,
I am blue, yeah.
mhm, let's change this though.
Yeah, the psychic, yeah.
Mhm. Faded intervention. You've got resistance to psychic damage.
And then
And
that
additionally,
means,
damage you take from life transference can be resistant to the spell still heals the full amount.
well, however, life transference is necrotic damage, I believe. So that would go away.
No, actually, you can still. It's like we can still keep the additionally the damage you take from life and can be resistant to the spell still heals the full amount. We'll leave it. It's like we can leave it in there. It's like we leave it in there because it's a special ability for the class.
Hmm.
The other thing would be to just kind of put down the focus spells. Damage from the spells is psychic. If you wanted to do something like that. Actually, wait. We can do this. Additionally, there we go.
Yeah. Additionally, damage from focus spells are all psychic damage, regardless of the damage type listed in the spell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alrighty.
There. Psychic spells there. So yeah.
That's Seer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Carl is gonna have a field day for interpreter. Fuck me.
Yeah. We've got Seer all taken care of.
At least until
Now the
playtests
only thing,
begin.
yeah. Now we have to actually just playtest it.
Yeah. We did it in 3 hours.
Yeah, about 3 hours.
Not bad, not bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
It took a little bit of a break.
yeah,
15-minute break to get
yeah.
dinner.
So, around like 2:45-ish, give or take.
Yeah, thereabouts.
Not bad. Not bad, not bad, not bad.
I don't know. Not bad at all.
And then, I don't know if I'm gonna stream going through the Magic Shield stuff tomorrow. I might. But at the same time, that means I've been streaming pretty much the entire weekend because I streamed yesterday, I streamed today. If I stream tomorrow, then I stream on Monday again, and that's basically 4 days of back-to-back streaming.
I mean, I'd say it's a good idea. Especially considering, like, you want to do more streaming.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So, yeah. 4.
Alrighty. But, I don't... Everything is squared away now, so all that's left is to playtest.
Mm-hmm.
Which will
And
still
like I
be a
said,
bit.
yeah. And like I said, I will do the playtest for Seer, considering that this is kind of something you and I built together.
Yeah.
I would like to be the first one to playtest it, so that way I can be like, okay, I know how Seer works. I know how busted it can be. How can I keep going with this and kind of either see what's balanced, see what's not balanced, and
Yeah.
do things like that. So I
Mm-hmm.
probably will end up either doing I'll either end up doing a Doomsayer or a Weaver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whatever
I'm
one makes more
thinking
sense.
I'm thinking I'm probably gonna do Weaver and then just take proficiencies for weapons and things like that through feats.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be the best way to do it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair. Look forward to the headache of my own class. I mean, hell, tomorrow is just going to be us going through and moving a lot of the stuff to the main class, and then going through and redoing a whole bunch of stuff. So you.
That I definitely will be present for because we've got to go over the death domain and
That's kind of your
yeah.
area. That was Morgan's stuff, so that is
Yeah.
literally your area. Just like Storm is going to be Dan's. So.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the other ones are kind of from NPCs, but at the same time, I would appreciate inputs all the same, because we have Legacy, Hunter, Forge, Storm, and Death. Notably keeping with a theme of 5 for each subclass, because I think...
Yeah.
So...
Yes, you're. Well, so yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna add any more to Seer, at least not yet, because I don't really feel like it can be taken anywhere else, because Chrome was like, maybe do something with like necromancy, like, you know, raising the dead. I'm like, no, if you want to do that, play the necromancy stuff. And I'm just sitting here like, that's technically not within the Seer's realm of expertise. Oh, uh-oh.
No idea why it kicked me out, but okay.
Yeah. Because, how much did you hear?
I heard nothing.
Because I think I'm gonna keep with the 5 for Seer. Because I remember when I was, like, showing it to Chrome, and he's like, maybe you could do one with, Hello, Dragon Craze! Welcome in! Hello! We're just winding down from a thing of world building, homebrewing a, homebrew, class with subclasses. And I'm just explaining some stuff to my coworker. Sass. Yeah. But, here's the thing. You might have missed out today, however, I will probably be back tomorrow with another homebrewing another class. So, all is not lost. But yeah, Chrome was like, maybe add something with like full-on necromancy, like raising the dead. And I'm like, if you want to do that, just play the necromancy subclass of wizard. This is
Yeah.
Seer is very specific.
Do you want, so if you want an undead army, play a Grave Cleric or a Necromancy Wizard.
Yeah. Because this is very, very specific.
Yes, Fate is... Bringing somebody back from the dead is not Fate's design.
Yeah. It's not supposed to raise the dead. It's supposed to be very, very specific.
It's supposed to raise the dead, it's supposed to make sure that you are not dead.
Hmm.
By making sure they are.
Yeah, just, we are alive, they are not. That is the fate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how playtest for Seer goes. I am very, very excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, maybe you could play a Seer and of the past, but no, you're already settled on what you want to do, and also it'd be very hard to be a Seer and also a reborn god.
I mean, technically, yes, but I could see a way that I could do
Oh boy.
it. I'm not going to, but I could see a way. It's a similar way in the fact, like, in my Pathfinder game that I played with the guys IRL, I am both a drunken monk and a cleric to the god of drinking, which is myself. Yeah. It basically just has everything to do with how divine power is granted to people. So yeah, I could be the reincarnated god, but I could also still be a seer for myself.
Hmm. Well, I'll leave that up to you, and it also depends on what we play after.
Because
Elderborn
I
2.
already got a plan. Exactly.
Because we don't know. We don't know what we're playing after our current game, because we're still not even at the halfway point, so I'm not fucking worried about it.
Oh man. It's gonna be very interesting. Again, when I already know after we get through the playtest and the reborn gods, I've already got my next character already planned out. That's gonna be fun. A headache for everybody, for the DM, but it's gonna be fun.
Oh boy.
I won't play it. It's like I won't play the character if you're DMing,
Okay.
unless you approve it.
You'd have to talk to me about it, so shrug.
Yeah. I'll tell you after everything.
Yeah. Alrighty, but that is it. We did it.
Yep. All written out. Ready just to be always a couple of playtests. Make sure that it's working well and be able to actually start having it as a character class we can use.
Yep. Yep. And so I am going to put out my raid message real quick, because of course we are going to raid someone, because naturally. We are going to raid Wishfin White BT, someone who I like their streams as well. They're currently celebrating their birthday today with a 12-hour stream. They are a Fox VTuber, or a Spirit Forest VTuber, and yeah.
Oh, I'm back.
Welcome back. I am just raiding out to Wispin, who is celebrating their birthday with a 12-hour birthday stream.
Very nice.
So, with that being said, the plan is tomorrow to come back and stream again for working on my other homebrew class and subclasses, because they both need work. I'm gonna be real. And today was just Seer. And then I will be back hopefully Monday afternoon with Strife for more Final Fantasy XIV, revisiting ARR. It's dull, but it's much better having someone to kind of banter with.
Oh, yeah.
So, yes. But that is it. Thank you guys for coming. Thanks for those that came in and chatted. Thanks for those that lurked. We appreciate lurkers in this household. Heart emojis. But yes, so the raid is about to go off in a couple seconds, and wish Wispin a happy birthday.
Agreed.
So thank you guys so much for joining. Bye-bye!
Right.